How bad?
A routine patrol turns into a murder scene. May 13, 2019, Officer De La Cruz reported that he was patrolling the Brixton housing complex when, according to him, he noticed Pamela Turner, who he knew had 3 outstanding warrants, and he decided to approach her and arrest her. Tased her, took her to the ground. She grabbed his taser, and he ended up firing 5 shots and murdering her. This doesn't have to happen. This shouldn't happen. Where are the steps before this? 11-year veteran, and you don't have any de-escalation skills. So I read through the comments, and I don't know why I do this. It's never a good idea to read through the comment sections of the video. And, you know what I mean? Because it's usually always divided. On this side, you got Republican, Trump conspiracies are on this side. Hillary and the Democrats are at it again, killing blacks to get the black vote. You know what I mean? It's always weird. But in the comment section, 2 questions continue to stand out to me. One, why would a man, an officer, any human continue to try to physically restrain a woman who's yelling that she's pregnant? Why at that moment did he not take a step back and, like, what happened? Like, what is does the evil run that deep? Like, what, are you that incompetent? Like, what made this person not take a step back? And number 2, if you know that we're being gunned down, if you know that they're looking for any reason to kill us, why would you reach for the taser? And in no way I'm saying this is her fault. It's just these 2 questions made me dig a little bit deeper to kind of figure out what's going on. And as I was doing a little bit more research into it, come to find out, Pam suffers from paranoid schizophrenia. Now, if you don't know anything about schizophrenia, it's not what you always see in the movies. You know, the straitjacket and just, you know what I mean, going nuts. People with paranoia can, live a functioning lifestyle. You know what I mean? If you get the right help and manage your symptoms, you know what I mean? It's just, there's a lot of mental challenges that you battle with. But if you get the right help, you can manage the symptoms and live, you know what I mean? You can live your life. But if you don't get the proper help, if you don't find a way to manage the symptoms, it could be an extreme challenge for your life. Like, even when I look through what her warrants were for, one was for criminal mischief, the other one was for assault on the housing complex manager who served her an eviction. With both showed me that there was mental health issues, because again, if you don't get the proper help, it turns into challenges. Neighbors also stated that they all knew something was off.
Family and neighbors say Turner suffered from mental illness.
I knew she was mentally unstable. She was. She would walk around the neighborhood with a dog, either talking to a dog or talking to herself.
Sometimes you would see her, get into it with people around the apartment. Just typical her. She's not a bad person. She didn't hurt nobody.
And this is my problem with the entire system. Not even just this specific officer who murdered her, but the police department and the system, the politicians. Everybody needs to be held accountable for this lady's murder. This isn't a policing issue. I work in the mental health field. I could see a lot of individuals dealing with this same situation. This isn't a policing issue. There's got to be different ways to handle this. 1, you could train your officers on mental health issues. Or 2, invest in a different department that goes out to handle these situations. You know what I mean? Like, the police culture has a culture of comply or else. And anybody that knows mental health individuals, that's just not about to fly that way. So ultimately, it's going to lead to a situation like this. So everybody needs held accountable. But I know what a lot of you are thinking. You know what I mean? He might not have known. But you're wrong. Remember, in his initial statement, he stated that he recognized her and knew that she had warrants, which is why he got out of his car. You know what I mean? That takes it to a whole nother level. He knows. And to make matters worse, the lawyer of the family and neighbors state that he has had several interactions and encounters with her. And the police backed it up. The police also stated that they knew she had mental issues. If you looked up her warrants or her profile, you seen the mental health issues in there. And to even make matters even more worse, the lawyers of the family and neighbors confirmed that Officer De La Cruz lived in the Brixton housing complex. He lived there and he knew her. He had altercations with her, sometimes in plain clothes. You knew what you were walking into, you knew what you were dealing with, and you decided to continue to move forward. And again, I'm sure critics are still gonna say,
you have to understand, what a taser is. It's an intermediate weapon designed to incapacitate people. Okay, and when one of our officers gets tased, when he has his taser taken away from him and used against him, the only question is, was our officer in fear for his life? I think a logical person would answer yes.
But the records show that the taser model that De La Cruz used was a X26P. And with the X26P, you can't fire more than one set of darts without having to physically reload the cartridge. And remember, he tased her just a few seconds before. So he knew at the time when she pointed the taser at him that she couldn't harm him. And he still decided to move forward with deadly force. That's murder. His attorney tried to respond saying that the findings that saying that it doesn't matter that the taser couldn't shoot more darts because even with an empty cartridge, it was still able to stun someone if held against them. The decision to use force was at the point when she grabbed the taser and was getting control of it. That's when he made the decision to use deadly force. I'm not buying it, man. You're an 11-year veteran on the force. I honestly feel like you were frustrated because you didn't gain control of the situation. This person was frustrating you because they weren't complying, and your emotions got the best of you, and you murdered her. Texas Rangers took over the investigation. De La Cruz was, of course, put on paid leave for not even more than a week, and he was back on desk duty. After 7 months of investigating, they sent their findings over to the Harris County. I believe that they are still reviewing the case, and he's still working. There's body camera footage that hasn't been released to the public just yet. Still considering it under investigation. I can't just settle for us appearing to be unified. Like I appreciate corporations, businesses standing and appearing to be unified with us, but it's not enough. There needs actual change. It's not enough for politicians and the different police departments that are saying that they don't agree with what happened to George Floyd. We appreciate it, but real change has to be made. You can't just no more optics. Don't settle for the optics no longer. Hold your politicians accountable for change. This officer needs to be held accountable. The police force needs to be held accountable, and politicians. This is on both sides. Don't miss me with all that Republican Democrat debate crap. No, both sides bear responsibility. So do we as the people. Don't settle for appearance. Don't settle.